Okay. Hey guys, I'm not gonna do my usual intro or my typical opening video routine because I'm just really depressed right now. I just saw a video from Super Bunnyhop, and I'm pretty sure you guys know him if you know anything about the Game Sphere. I recently mirrored his video on Kojima versus Konami and that whole situation before that got taken down, but then that was like reinstated to YouTube shortly after I put it up there. But the point is, the guy usually produces some pretty good content. And so I saw a post on Negatvity.com, which is one of the sites I usually frequent, and it was called Lies and Hype, the E3 2015 story, and that was from Super Bunnyhop, and I watched it, and holy shit. I gotta tell you, that was literally one of the most horrendous videos I've ever seen in my time here on YouTube. And I've been doing these videos for 8 years. I thought I've seen everything, but this was just fucking awful. It really is. It was literally one of the most repellent things I've ever seen on screen. I could barely even watch it. If you want to watch the video, links will be in the description down below so you can watch it. But for those of you who haven't, I'm just going to give you the abridged version. Here it is. He basically thought E3 2015 sucked and that it's a hype and marketing machine, and that the people who were reacting positively to announcements that they wanted for years, stuff like The Last Guardian, the Final Fantasy VII HD remake, and Shenmue 3, all of those people were overreacting fanboys. There you go. That's the abridged version. That is the abridged version. Super Bunnyhop, and I'm directly pointing at you here. I'm directly relating this to you. What the hell was that? Literally, what was that? You usually produce some really, really good content, and you have normally high quality standards. If you honestly thought that this video was good enough to put up on YouTube, and you thought, that's okay, put that out. Wow, you just really let your quality standards dip for this video, because that was horrendous. It was awful. What the fuck were you thinking? Like, did you honestly think that was good enough to put up on YouTube? You didn't think, maybe I should think this through a little bit more before I put it up on YouTube? You didn't think that at all. Oh my god. This is literally one of the best E3s we've had in years. There's so many great games that were shown. And gamers have had very little to be excited about. This medium, this community has been dragged through the mud for the past year. Especially with the whole Gamergate scandal, the corruption going on in games journalism, a lot of broken games, shady business practices, all this bullshit that's been going on for the past year. That's just dragged this industry down. And yet when E3 rolls around and it actually exceeds people's expectations, and it actually gives us stuff that we want, and stuff that we've been waiting years for. Whether that be intriguing new IPs, excellent extensions into franchises that have been going on for years, as well as indie titles. When you think of all the stuff that was put out there, I can't honestly say that this E3 was a disappointment. It was awesome, and if you didn't think it was awesome, look, I just don't know what to tell you. But it was golden. For the most part, I couldn't really see anything wrong with it. It was fantastic. And yet you have to rain on the parade and ruin the fun for everybody else. Look, there's nothing wrong with being skeptical. Hell, there's nothing even wrong with being jaded and cynical every once in a while. But holy shit, this video was way too negative. It was just borderline depressing. I could barely even watch the damn thing. But you seriously thought this was your best work? You seriously thought this was good enough to put up? You seriously thought this was good enough? Wow. And I like you, Super Bunnyhop. I think you produce some great content. You produced some good work, but this was arguably your worst video. It really, really, really was, honestly. And and I'm going to say this. I'm going to come out right and say this. And I know it's going to be pretty controversial, but this is just my honest opinion. After watching this video, I honestly think that jaded cynicism has no place in this industry anymore. It doesn't. To me, I think this jaded cynicism that's been corrupted in the industry, I think it's honestly fake. I think it's not genuine. And I think people are only doing it for hits, for views. And it just seems like they're just going out of their way to not like something because everybody else doesn't like it. It almost just kind of comes off as being really pretentious. You know who else does that kind of crap? Hipsters. Hipsters do this kind of shit. And I detest hipsters. I think they're annoying as hell and they need to go away. And that's exactly why I disagreed with YMS's review of Inside Out, which was, a Pixar movie. That's why I disagreed with that as well. But getting back on topic, again, it's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to be critical of something, but you don't have to be a dick about it. You can be fair and objective as well. And this is not fair and objective. This was just shitting on the hype parade. It really was. It was ruining everybody's day because God forbid people are actually excited about something. Because no fun is allowed in video games anymore. This is exactly why I couldn't stand video gamer TV's take on the E3 conferences. And that's exactly why I don't really care for zero punctuation anymore, because it's just become old and tiresome, just like this whole jaded cynicism crap. But, okay, look, he made one point that I did agree with, and that's when he said E3 is nothing more than a marketing hype machine. And to be fair, yes, it is. E3 is a marketing and hype machine. But think very closely about what show you're talking about here. It's E3. Of course it's a marketing and hype machine. What the hell did you expect? That's what it always has been. And he said that it, was a bit cocky, it wasn't humble, it was just bombastic. Of course, that's what E3 is. It's always been bombastic and cocky and in your face and boastful. That's what E3 is. If it wasn't that, it wouldn't be an E3. You go to E3 to make the biggest splash you can, to make the biggest spectacle that you can, to one-up your competition. That's why you go to E3. That's why all of these major publishers and console manufacturers go to E3. They want to make a big spectacle. This isn't most other video game conventions where it's typically more stripped down, more humble, more relaxed. This is just like you're just throwing everything at the wall and hoping what sticks and hoping people get excited for something. You're trying to make a spectacle. That's what E3 is, and that's what it'll always be about. And if you were expecting anything more from E3, then really, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. But of course that's what it is. And yes, I understand that it's opinionated, and I understand that, yeah, there's a lot of shady shit that goes on in the industry. Believe me, I'm fully well aware of that. I understand that. But for God's sakes, at least just let gamers be excited for one thing in their lives. Just let them have their fun. Why do you have to go and rain on people's parades because you personally didn't like it and you think it's a marketing hype machine? That's fine. That's your opinion. But just let people be excited. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It just seems like you're just trying to find reasons to not like this E3, even though it's one of the best that we've had in recent years, to go against the grain. And I'll be honest, again, it just seemed very fake and genuine. Like, this was almost like the kind of shit that Kotaku or Polygon would do. This is just blatant clickbait. It really is. And I'm fucking embarrassed that I even watched the whole thing. I probably should have stopped watching within the first 5 minutes. Hell, within the first 30 seconds, I should have stopped watching. But I wanted to watch the whole thing because I wanted to give a deeper analysis. I wanted to have an understanding before making a knee-jerk reaction type of video. And I guess you could argue this is a knee-jerk reaction, but I'm just getting my thoughts and opinions there. And this is a rant if you haven't already caught on. But you know what? All of that would have been tolerable. All of that would have been passable. I would have just said, you know what, hey, that's fine. That's his opinion, that he thinks that way. I'm just going to move on with my day. But then he went to a level that I personally did not agree with, and you should never do this. If you're just starting out making videos on YouTube, don't do what I'm about to describe. Just don't do it. he started insulting people who were excited about these announcements, calling them, and I'm directly quoting them here, over. I'm sorry. I'm just really pissed right now that I'm just fucking up. No, I'm not editing this. Fuck it. I'm only doing one take of this. Let me start again. He had said to the people that were excited about these announcements, he was essentially insulting them, saying that they were overly excited fanboys. And I'm directly quoting him on that. That's what he said. That they were overly excited fanboys. Okay, first of all, no. They were not overreacting, overly excited fanboys. They were not overreacting fanboys. Because again, God forbid, people can't actually get excited about something. God forbid. I've seen all of the reaction videos to these announcements. And people were genuinely excited about things that they've been wanting for years. The Final Fantasy VII HD remake, that's something people have been wanting for years. Hell, there was even a Facebook group I saw at one point in time about people actively voting against an HD remake. Regardless of which side of the spectrum you are, people were passionate about this, and people were asking about it for years. And after almost 20 years, Square Enix was finally giving them what they want. Does that make them overreacting fanboys? No, it doesn't. It's just that they were genuinely excited about something that they wanted for years. What's wrong with that? Same thing with The Last Guardian. Oh, it looks the same as it does on the PS3. Who cares? People were genuinely excited about it because that's something that they wanted for years. Again, are they overreacting fanboys? They're not. They're really, really not. The same with Shenmue 3. Oh, are they overreacting fanboys because they were genuinely excited? No. Well, the crew from Game Trailers, and I've seen the reactions from the Game Trailers crew, where people like Kyle Bossman or Michael Huber overly excited fanboys or overreacted fanboys because they were excited about something that they personally wanted for years? No. If anything, it just shows how passionate people are about this hobby, about this medium. And there's nothing wrong with it. When you finally get something that you've been wanting for years, you're going to flip the fuck out. You are. That's what most people do in this kind of thing. Hell, I'm going to use an example here. When The Incredibles 2 was announced, when Pixar finally announced they were doing The Incredibles 2, I lost my shit. In my mind, of course, I did, but I was so excited because I've been wanting a sequel for literally a decade. Does that make me an overreacting fanboy? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. It's just that people are excited about something, and there is nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And honestly, George, Super Bunnyhop, if you were trying to make people see your point of view, if you were trying to make them understand where you were coming from, then that was a terrible idea on your part to insult your audience. You don't do that. You don't insult your audience directly. You don't insult the audience that you're trying to make understand your point of view. And I don't care if that statement didn't make sense. Again, this is one take. Fuck it. I don't care. But you don't do that. You don't insult the people. You don't insult your audience that you're trying to reach directly. So now that the people that watch this video, instead of saying, okay, this guy has a point, he's being fair and reasonable, and he's outlining his points on why he doesn't like this particular thing. I can understand that. They're not going to think that. Now, after watching this, they're going to think, wow, this guy is a massive tool. That's what they're going to think. So you shot yourself in the foot if you're trying to make people understand your point of view and where you were coming from. Again, you don't insult your audience directly. And honestly, I felt personally insulted. You had to insult the audience directly by calling them overreacting fanboys. Because apparently no fun is allowed in video games anymore. Everything has to be super serious, jaded, and cynical, and I can't fucking stand it. I really can't stand it. Oh, God. It was just depressing. And again, this comes from somebody that's been playing video games literally over 15 years. I first got into this in 1999 with Crash Bandicoot. Sorry, Spyro the Dragon and Crash Team Racing, and I loved it. And the more and more I invested in this hobby, the more and more I started to understand what video games truly are and what they mean to so many people. video games mean a lot to everything. These announcements mean a lot to various other people. Video games in general mean a lot to people. And honestly, when you're passionate about your hobby, when when you finally get something that you've been wanting for years, of course you're going to react like a madman, a maniac, a freak. That's what gamers do, or at least most of them do. There's nothing wrong with that. And the fact that you are trying to suck out the fun of people that generally enjoy these announcements just kind of honestly made you into a literal buzzkill. And this was a very poorly thought out video. It was. And I definitely think you should have really gone back to the drawing board and really more deeply thought this out, because it just seemed really rushed and slapped together. It was fucking awful. It was, and I'm not gonna make no qualms about that. And I'm sorry to all the fans of Super Bunnyhop that might get pissed with me saying that. I'm sorry, but I have to be honest, his video was fucking awful. It was. And I'm not going to excuse it because I like the guy's content. The video sucked. There's no excusing that. I'm sorry. There really isn't. But I guess the last point I want to make was when you brought up Uncharted 4, saying that when they show these announcements, they don't even look good, or they're not even that good, which is kind of ironic because Naughty Dog is a great developer, and they just raise the bar every single time. I just thought that was kind of funny and a bit disingenuous. Anyways, that's all I gotta say. I'm sorry if I sound like such a downer in this video. I'm usually a really positive person. I'm usually a really cheery person, but this just sucked all the sales that I had over these last few days with E3. I'm sorry, but you know what? That's all I gotta say. More videos are coming soon. This is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Hero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty, and keep it weird.